review session. So we are first going to do a quick recap on what's been covered so far. And these are just bullet points things. If you have questions, just type it in, open the microphone and speak. I have a lot of blank pages coming next, so I'm gonna cover whatever questions that you have. Afterward, we'll look at the previous year midterm. Just make sure you notice that this particular midterm is actually designed for the in-class midterm. So questions where you can obviously try that on your C or Linux terminal will not be there. Because essentially that means you just go and type it out and then basically list the answer, right? But in terms of the difficulty, it is roughly there. So we covered Linux basic. What's going on? Did you all hear the oh my god or something? All right, so I hope you're fine. But it's
No, it was a TV. Sorry.
okay. That's all right. Because that looks kind of like I'm okay, excited, oh my god, rather than like I'm about to die, oh my god. Right? So we also talk about file structure in Linux, the shell command. Make sure you're familiar with them. Make sure you're familiar with, given it's a online take-home exam, make sure you're familiar with how to read the man page, right? The manual page. So you can go to the man, type in the command, it will tell you how to use it. Make sure you're familiar with how to browse the command that you want to figure out how to use it through Google. Don't copy straight out from Stack Overflow. It's not likely to give you the solution, or I mean, to be honest, you haven't. Okay, that's a question about when is the midterm, February 16. And if that day make you if I gave you a heart attack by giving you the wrong date, let me know. But I'm pretty sure it's February 16. We also cover shell script, right? Assignment 1. This is basically what is in assignment 1. We talk about regular expression, which is also assignment 1, and get, which is also assignment 1, right? No, it won't be on exam.net. I'm old school. I'll send you a PDF of the exam. You can write the answer on the exam, and there'll be some programming exercise where you submit the .c file. So yeah, I don't even know that website exists. So maybe I'll check it out and see if it is better. Is it good? Exam.net. Like I just
pretty easy to use. Yep.
Oh, okay. Then I'll check it out.
But I don't think it's suitable for coding though. I think it's like for like multiple choices and stuff like that.
Then I'll just generate a PDF and then I'll make sure it's one file. It's easier to just have a PDF, I think.
Yep.
Oh, it let you log student to the browser. Okay, I'm okay with take-home exam, right? Because at the end of the day, the way you program in real life, right, it's the same thing as take-home exam. You got questions and you figure out how to get to the solution. And for the conceptual questions, I think there are ways that I can test whether you know things or not. We talk about basic C, data types in C, pointers, right? Make sure you try assignment 2 before trying the midterm. Don't reverse that order. If you reverse the order, try midterm, then assignment 2, I'm sure you're screwed. So assignment 2, then midterm. Memory allocation, data structure in C, and also data representation. I forgot this. Data representation. Right. So this is assignment 2. And for data representation, don't assume I'll use the C type thing. I'll apply the same concept. I might come up with my own processor that say integer is this many bytes. Assigned and unsigned would work the same way as 2 complements. but then I'll tell you what's my assumption, so you can get to the actual value based on the assumption I listed, right? So otherwise, again, you can type that thing in C, compile and run, and you see the answer. And that's not testing anything, right? So to actually test whether you know how to represent data or not, that's fundamental concept I want to get out from the lecture that hopefully can be tested on the exam. So let's look at the previous exam. I'll show one of them. This is from 2019. Let me open this in Microsoft Edge so I can write things out. Oh, okay, let me share this monitor. So I'm going to switch my screen that I'm sharing a little bit. So I'm back to the monitor that I can write things on. Wait. Stop sharing and then share screen one. All right, so do you see the screen that has the PDF?
Yes.
Okay, so let me zoom in a little bit so that it's let's see. Is this clear now? Can you read this?
Yes.
Okay, so this is quiz one. Quiz one back in the day was just the Linux part, if I remember correctly. So let me double check. So this is the first set of questions from quiz one. Again, notice this is in class designed for 120 minutes, right? And it's an open note exam, so you can take in notes. That's why I basically do this. What is MKDR high? Someone tell me what's the answer to the first question. Should be pretty straightforward.
Make a folder name high.
Yeah, so that's what you're supposed to put in. What about this? SSH-P 12345 10.22.24.253. What does the command do?
Connect to IP address.
Connect to that machine, whatever machine that has that IP address using the port 12345, right? This is the same thing as our command that used to connect to the Cisco server, but over there the port will be 2222, right? So over here is as you said on the chat, is also the same answer. Open a secure shell to that machine using that port. Cat essentially would print the content of test1.txt, test2.txt, test3.txt. What does this do? Grep -r hello. How about doc? I'm not sure if there's a doc command. Can someone tell me if there's a doc command? I'm curious. I don't think there is. So what does grep -r hello use bin star? Find the word hello in that folder. Actually, with the -r, it's every single file within that folder as its own subfolder. So it's recursive. Yep. So what does su and this mean? It's basically switch to that user. You get prompt that say the password and you can log in as that user, assuming that you also own that account. Right? Program versus processes, pretty self-explanatory, right? Any questions here about the first part, the key difference between a program and the processes? The difference are programs are the program you write. The processes is like instance of that program. So let's say Chrome is a program. Good. It's a program, right? So I can say Git is a program as well. Git is a program. What about the items that are listed when you type in the top command in Linux? Is that a program or a process? It's a process. Yes, you're correct. The reason why they are process is actually the running instance of that program because it's listed on the top, right? How about this /user/bin/ls? Is that a program or is that a process? It's a program. Yep, you're correct. What's the difference between pipe and redirection? Anyone still remember pipe and redirection? Can someone tell me what are the difference? Both of them move stuff from where to where and what kind of stuff. So yes, so that answer is a perfect answer for pipe. It basically takes the output, right, of the last command and plug it in as an input to another command. How about the redirection? Does it actually have anything to do with the command? What does redirection do? Yes, those are redirection. Those like greater than or less than sign are redirection. What it does is it generates. So if you type out, it basically means the output of that command go into the files. If it's in, it means the file will be used as an input to the command. Sorry, I have a sore throat. I'm also eating. Just to make sure, because I've been talking since Monday. Now my throat hurts. So what about the next box? What can go wrong with this? I grab test inside the file called test.txt and I redirect the output to test.txt. Even with the double, so that's the difference between 1 greater than and 2 greater than sign. That's a difference between those two. The difference
Right
is
and append.
right and append. Yes, exactly. So that's the difference. So what can go wrong here? It actually replaced the same file. What does it mean? Actually, not sure. You are trying to grab. What does grab do? Grab actively go through the files, right? So it's actually still going through the files. Yay! I'm trying to find where's that word test. Let's say there are 5 instead of test in that file. It's supposed to print the 5 lines, right? So the option is okay. It's supposed to print 5 lines of test, right, wherever they are. When I'm printing the first line, what does it print to? It doesn't print to the monitor, it prints to the same file, but you are replacing the file, right? So what
it will be just one test on the whole text.
That's one thing that can happen. It depends on how fast the computer handle this thing called stream IO, which is the part where you open the file and you tunnel in this new information to write to the file. So it's actually undetermined here. You can have this one line, one broken line, a broken file actually, or the same file, right? So this is basically what's wrong with this command. It's dangerous because you don't like redirect into some middleman, the temporary files, right? How many of you seen a bunch of temp files get generated when you do something in your computer? There's actually a temp folder that stores those files, right? It's for intermediate files that you want to generate and use it later in the program. So this is actually one of the reason many programs in the world generate this text file, right? So any questions about this? I feel like this is a pretty interesting example in the exam question. And To be honest, once you're in the exam setting, everyone kind of got it. To be honest. So, any
Yeah.
question? Yeah.
What happens if when the program create a temp file and there's already other file that have the same name
So if there's already existing file, right,
at the same path?
at the same time, depending what kind of redirection, in this case, it would replace the file. Yeah. Think about this way. You need to, even though the program we use are awesome and look really advanced, fundamentally computers are super stupid. It actually do exactly the same thing you tell them to do. Right? So in this case, you redirect to that location. What does it do? Generate the new files with that name, put the results in there. So at the end of the day, it like break down to that few lines of code, and it will tell exactly what the computer is supposed to do. And if there are more than one thing, say the sentence is unclear, it would yell back at you, I don't know what you're tell me to do. That's when you get the error message, right? I don't know what I'm supposed to do here. The program does a bug here when there's an error. So how are you gonna fix the problem that you plus? Basically, create a temp file, right? First redirect to the temp file, and then you move that result to the old file. So what's the two benefits of multitasking, multi-user features in Unix? This is kind of lecture one. So, to kind of save time, right? Multiple users can access remotely at the same time. The thing is you can do it at the same time and you can execute the program. Yay! So if you two fuse together, you got the correct answer. So yeah, so those are the two benefits. That's why I said you fuse together, you got two benefits. So what's a terminal? What's a shell? Okay, you can go to the slide. I'm not even sure if we should cover that question B. If the answer is on the slide. What is an environment variable? And list example of one of Linux environment variable. Shell, not shell is also a home of snail, but not in this context. So I'm not sure if you. I'll probably give like half a point for creativity. Yeah.
So if you connect, like make an analogy of what snail is, will it get full score?
Yeah, it's don't underestimate the university student creativity.
I know. I was, come on guys, I was a student before. It's not like I forgot how I felt when I was young and partially crazy. Right? So yeah, I mean, I think I can claim that within the context of this class, shell is a totally different thing. So I'll give you something, right? But I would rather you answer the correct. I'm sure you know what I mean by what is a shell. Yeah, I mean, most of us, including myself, I think we're all kind of like at that point. We're almost like 30 minutes away from going mental. So that's human, right? So environment variable is basically a predefined variable, basically predefined value that is assigned to the variable in that environment, like a path. Yes. Sure. If you still want to stick with what's the shell? Shell, guys. Okay. So let's move on. Let's move on for that question so that we can throw me on another question. What can be the plausible causal command not found? When you type the ls command, can someone use your creativity here? If you type ls and say command not found, what can happen? Yes. So slash bin can be gone from the path variable. It can be like you log in to the into the shell and your friends came in, you went to lunch, your friend came in and throw you, change the path variable. You can just move ls outside of that folder, right? Not in the correct shell. Yeah, I mean, it's like at that time the environment doesn't tell the shell program that hey, it's actually ls actually might be in here. It tries to search and it cannot find the location. That is possible as well. Vessel, I guess that's pretty creative. Basically, these command what it would do is to create an alias in that folder called ls, which is runnable, and you assign that to echo command not found, which is basically literal print command not found. Okay, this is I never seen that answer before, at least for this instance of like question. Like, yeah, that's good. That's like you go around to get to the answer that I'm not looking for, but this is good enough. It tells me that you know what are these commands do. What does this command do? All right, so this is more now moving on to the scripting question, right? What's the purpose of shebang? Anyone remember what is shebang? What is shebang? Yep, it's actually to initialize what is used to run the script. So it can be shell script, it can be a Python script. If you want to use a Python, you say shebang /bin/Python. It would use that version of Python to run the script. If you want to say, hey, this Python file is for Python 2, not Python 3, you say user shebang pound exclamation mark /bin/Python -2. That would force Python 2 to run for that command. It's actually comment for the computer. It's a comment for the computer. So that's a great question. Does it actually do something, or is it just a comment for human? It's actually the inverse of that. It's for us to tell the computer, use this program to run the script, right? So when you actually run it, it knows that, oh, okay, so use whatever is in that path as the executable to run whatever is down there, right? This is basically write the script to do the chmod, where if you are the owner, change it to RWE, if the group, RW, and for everyone else, use R. For every file that contain text in the first, give me what did I write here? I think I failed English. Oh, okay. So the command that I want you to do is to search any files in the folder that contain this text AAA. If there's a file that contains the file name has AAA in them, change chmod. Then as many inputs as you can put in here, it search for all the text. Basically, in this example, it will first do chmod on any file that has the word AAA. Then any file that has the word lowercase bbb, followed by any file that has this CCC character in the file name, right? So this is basically shell script. You start by loop through your inputs, then check if there's a file that match the input name, file name that match the input, then do the chmod. All right, so, and when I'm grading this question, actually, I didn't actually type in on the next, I looked at whether this is correct or not. So I don't grade syntax. Even this is like an in-class exam, right? So you want to make sure you get the conceptual command, because I believe that once you have that, you have a capability of going to Google, trying to find what is the syntax error that you're facing and fix it. So in this case, without using tilde, ls, or find, write a command that lists all the non-hidden files inside this folder, home / your username / file pro quiz 1. And you can assume that your home directory is properly where it is, right? So one thing you can do, you know that it's going to be in /home. You want to know what's the user ID of that user, right? So you can type user to get the user ID. Basically, you first get the user ID. So you know the folder would be in /home / user ID / file pro quiz 1, right? So you now got the folder. How do you list all the non-hidden files? So basically, think about this a little bit. Let's actually try this question. So how about this? Let's try this question during the post class here. We should be done around, I would say around 1 p.m. We'll move on to the Discord and we'll go through basic assignment to the remaining in-class exercises, and you can try this question out. How can you list without ls, essentially? Now that you know the folder, how can you do the list? Yeah, you can search. So that's one way you can do it, actually. So that's I'm not sure, grab star and search for any text. Yeah, I think that would work too. It just then you have to process the remaining of the extra text. You can echo. Yeah, I mean, you got the point, right? The reason why I actually put in at the end, again, feel free to use the command to tell me what you're trying to do. So over here, because also it's in class, I want you to just get into your brain and figure out what you're trying to do here. If it's going to the right path, you would like you to get almost full credit or full credit, right? So the next set of questions is regular expression. What does this do? Dot star. Star is anything. Yep. Or this dot. Yeah, it selects everything that has at least one character. At least one character. Right? It guarantees that you have at least one character. What about dot star dot dot plus? It's anything but how many letters, actually. So it's not, so these things are not related to folder anymore. We are talking about regular expression, which is string matching. I'm trying to match something, right? So it doesn't have to always be in the directory static. It can be a text inside a file. It can be a search term in your program, things like that, right? So what would it mean if I do dot star dot plus? I enter with three letters, three character at least, right? Why? Dot mean one single character. Plus mean I need at least one of the thing earlier. So and star mean anything. So anything with 3 character would match here. The first dot, the second dot, the third with the plus means I need at least one more dot. Right? So this is write a regular expression that would match any email with MUIC domain. I wrote that question without realizing that I'm not sure that thing exists. I thought you have your personal email account with mahidol.edu or something. It turns out everyone came up with different like domain name. But essentially, I'm looking for something with the @mahidol.edu or @muic.edu or something. Oh yeah, and that's it. It's actually not correct. You know why? So the answer in the chat is student.mahidol.edu. So the first thing you miss the @ right? First thing is you miss the @. The second thing is what is the dot over there? What would happen if you put in the dot like that? It matches any letter, right? So you need to do backspace dot. It forces I want that dot. Yeah, you need to escape it. So you do backspace dot. You force that, hey, I don't want that dot to mean any letter. I want to literally mean this dot thing in my domain name. Oh, okay. So this is again another script that will find our source in the image file list here. Basically, this is search for this exact term, bracket image source. Then extract if it matches the .jpg or .png or .jpeg. Get. Not sure if you see something like this. Basically, it's a question of like, okay, let's say the master is here on the user 2. This is user 1's head, right? How can you move from this location 3 and 4, right? Where there's also branch B, A, and master branch. How can I merge branch A and branch B into number 6 here? So by the way, Achubat, your answer is correct. So yeah. So over here, right, what you have to do first, user 2 need to switch to branch A. When you switch to branch A, you will then be at number 5. Then you merge A and B, so that branch A and B merge into branch 6 in A. How do you do that? From branch A, right? You when you are in branch A, you also then switch to if you're in basically you want to switch to branch B and merge branch A code over there, right? Then you commit your change from branch A plus the merge. You commit that generate the node number 6. And the rest are scratch pad. So I'm gonna put this on. I'll put this on the on the class website for you to check. So that's the Unix part. And this again, we used to have 4 exams. And I'm not sure I like the idea of having that many exams. So I merge. So this is only the first part. I'm gonna cover the C part now. Let me go through my Dropbox. So remove it here. All right, so do you see the new PDF?
Yes, Ajahn.
All right, cool. So this is the problematic part. When I mentioned to you the first time I make the exam is way too hard. Problem 2 and 3 is a little bit way too long. I'm not expecting you to kind of like get through that especially if this is a 2-hour exam. Yep, I curve like a madman over here. So hopefully these are 3 points. What does the first thing print? Hello world. Okay, how about the second one? How about the second one? The second one is actually kind of tough. It would return the integer representation of something, right? But you got a string. What is a string? Each character. But you want to print only one thing, right? It's only 1% D, right? Basically, it's the value of the first item in your array of character. All right. So how about the third one? In A10, print %D star 8. It would print A of 0, right? The first item. How about this? Star A plus 2. That will print A of 2. What if I do this? Star A without parentheses plus 2. What's the answer to the last one here? The last one is essentially going to be A0 plus 2, right? A of 0 plus 2. Because star A is A0 and you add 2 to it. Okay, so this is when it gets interesting. This is not the interesting part, it's the next question. So in class, we talk about linked list, right? It's a linked list. Over here, I say, hey, we can use the concept of linked list to represent a double linked list. So I'm going to switch to PowerPoint. Oops, I think I need to do this over here, right? So you see my presentation view of PowerPoint. So I'm going to draw this is a linked list, right? And you have front that connects to the first one. What is a double linked list? Visually, it's simple. So this is linked list. I'm going to use a different color to show double linked list. There's a pointer to the next element, and there's a pointer back to the earlier elements. Okay. And there's this thing called back that point to the last one. This thing called front that point to the first one, and the first one will also have a now pointer in the front, right? To say, hey, that's it. That's the top mode. So that's double linked list. Any questions here? Any questions here about what is double linked list? Okay, so you don't have any questions. So the questions, as I say here, is implement insert, where I say insert at n, insert at that position, right? So basically this create a new node, insert this at the nth location of my linked list. So it's the same, actually it's just the same thing as our linked list. The difference here is, let's say you want to insert, use a new color, orange, yellow, I guess, hard to see. So what you do to insert is from this thing, you get rid of this, it point to here, you make sure this one point to here, get rid of this. This thing now point to here. This one point to here. That's all you have to do. Also, make sure you handle the case where nothing. Basically, right now the list points to nothing. It's an empty linked list. If you insert the first item for the first time, basically make sure you cover that piece. Right? So that's insert. Insert first. Basically, insert at the front of your linked list. Get value is not even insert. You go through the linked list until you get to the nth position. Return the value of that node. This should be pretty simple. You basically loop, right? You loop until n. When you're there, just return the value of that node. And over here is a get value. I want to return the pointer to that node. So basically, this is return the address of the struct of that node. And this is where it gets a little bit weird. Right? This return all the nodes, right? All the nodes. So basically, you're generating another list of nodes that match the value. So this is where I'm like, okay, this is going to waste too much of your time after the fact that I gave it to the students, and I felt bad about that. But this is what the way you do it is you go through the list, right? Then, if the value match, insert that node as a new node in the new linked list. Oh, actually, this is an array. My bad. This is not like a linked list. This is an array. So this is just an array of nodes, right? Star is an array of nodes. So you can just allocate the next item, allocate the next item. Get sorted list. This is where also again earlier on the first iteration this class you're supposed to take algorithm and data structure, so you kind of know this. I'm not expecting you to do this at all, but you can do a function called qsort to sort an array. So from the earlier questions, once you have this function return value, the get nodes, right? So basically you get node first to get the list of things. You can then use qsort. Basically, instead of list of things, you convert to an array. It's just an array of everything in that list. You go through the list, get the entire array, then run qsort. Not expecting you to do this. So let's wait until you finish data structure and algorithm to kind of like get back to that question. Or at least until assignment 2. Tree rotation, right? So this is where again it gets weird. I assume because everyone in that class say, hey, they did data structure before, they know the tree. I didn't realize they don't know how to rotate the tree. So you can actually rotate the tree. For example, here in the figure, I can say I want to rotate node 15, right? Which is at the top. I want to rotate to the left, move 15 to the left. So you kind of flip it that way. It would look like the tree to the right, right? And I can rotate right as well. Right, so I can rotate the node at 12, which means that the 12 would be up here, 13 would be to the right of the node 15, which is a parent now, and it go down like that. Yep, it doesn't go well, so I curve like crazy. So I'm gonna skip this question. All right, this is like after data structure, after algorithm, and we can talk about this question. I just want to tell you, this will not be on your exam. It's too hard. So basically, I'm asking you to do the rotate left or rotate right. This is again rebalance tree, which is way too hard. Really way too hard for.
So basically, like what shell script and basic C will be on the midterm, right?
Yeah.
Basic C like function.
Anything that are in the difficulty of assignment 2 is a fair game. This is beyond assignment 2.
Oh, I see.
Yeah. I took the response that I that the student take the structure already a little bit too far. I said sorry so many times during that semester. I'm sorry again, folks. You know you're not here. Okay, so this is a question I like a lot actually. I have an array that's an integer, that's 1,000 items there. I have a int I pointer, which is pointer of a character called p, and I loop through this. Wait, I loop through the array, but instead of a pointer of integer, I loop through using a pointer of a character. It go 1 byte at a time. There's a 4 bytes at a time. And then I loop through my array 1,000 times. This means that it will not go through the entire array, right? Oh, actually, my bad. There's nothing. I don't do anything with p. That's a trick question. So array I will be 1 through 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, up to 999. They are all integer. What I ask is, what will get print if I do this? What will I get print if I do this? What will be print if I do this? So p is a pointer for a character, right? What will it print if I do this? And if it's an error, just say there's an error. So I'm gonna post this question as well. If you want to attempt this and want to check the answer, we can do that during office hour. You can email me like, okay, how about this thing? Does it look correct? So yeah, that's it for the sample exam. I'm gonna switch back to the lecture monitor. So let me stop sharing this and share my other monitor. Just this. So any questions about the material from our class so far that I can answer? Right now it's just a tons of blank slides for me to write things if you want to ask anything. Otherwise, we'll go through some of the assignment too. Right? So the first one is a binary tree. Any question that you want to ask, even though we went through this already, about how to construct a binary tree? Because otherwise I'm gonna explain merge sort.
So basically, one way to review is to watch all the lectures in the past, right?
You mean for the exam?
Yeah, watch all the 4 weeks of lectures, right?
Yes, but I think the best way to go through that is look at the assignment 1 and 2 and make sure you can do all of them.
Okay. Without the internet or with the internet?
You mean for
Because
the exam?
I can do I can do
you
assignment
mean-
one with I can do assignment one with like some Google search.
Yeah, I mean, to be honest, because we are doing a take-home exam, can I prevent you from using the internet?
That's a good question.
So the way I'm gonna make the exam is I'll make sure you learn, and I'm basically aware that whatever question is there, you will use the internet to double check your answer. So that's my assumption, and I'm making the exam. So feel free.
Use the internet.
Feel free
I
to
see.
use the internet. If
Okay.
you don't, so let me put it this way, right? If you don't study a lot because you say, hey, I can rely on internet for the exam, you will then take more time. Basically, is that time you have to browse through and actually learn how to do these things. At the end of the day, I achieved my goal. You learn how to do these things. So, yeah. So that's so let's actually now talk about merge sort, right? So the merge sort, the way it works is, let's say you start with an array. Right, and that's like right now 9 items in it. I'm going to throw in random numbers so we can sort this afterward. I have tons of repeated items. So what will merge sort do is, first it will split this into half. Right. So it will split into the first half and the second half. Then we split again. You keep splitting until you run out of things to split. So in this case, you're gonna end up with just 1, 10, and 8. Another array with 4 and 3. Another array is 7 and 1. Another array is 4 and 6. Then you split again. You have 1 and 10, right? Then you have 8. You have 4. You have 3. 7. 1, 4, 6. Then you split again, you get 1 and 10. So I'm gonna not going to redraw this. The way merge sort work is if you do this and break it into each of this level of breaking and merging. So I'm gonna draw the line that split the level. Right, this is a splitting part. Now I'm gonna merge things back. The way merge sort works is once you're done splitting, you are basically merge it back. But the way you merge it back, you sort them along the way. So if you want to merge 1 and 10 together, right, you first pick the first number. The first number comes from the lowest of the front of this list. So what's my list? I have a list of 1 item that has the value 1. I have another list of 1 item that has the value 10. Which one is lower, 1 or 10? 1, right? So I put 1 in. Then that list becomes empty, so I put the next item in. So I have a box that has the value 1, a box that has the value 10. Now I want to merge this box with this box. I want to merge this box with this box, this box with this box, and this box with this box. So that's the next iteration, a merge sort. What will happen? I'm gonna basically start moving up. 1, 10, 8. I have a list of 1 and 10, another list that contains the value 8. What's the first number that's the lowest? 1, right? So I take that number. I put 1 here. Now I have a list of 10 and a list of 8. Which one is lower? 8, right? So we can take the number 8 followed by number 10. Same things here, right? 4 and 3. 4 and 3, which one is lower? 3 is lower, so you put 3 here, 4 here. 7, 1, because 1 is lower, you take that number first and followed by 7. 6 and 4, 4 is lower, followed by 6. Now I'm gonna merge it again, right? So I'm done with the second level. I'm gonna merge it again. I want to merge 1, 8, 10, and 3, 4. Think of it as 2 lists. Within the list is already sorted. So what you have to do is pick the lowest number at the front. Put it 1 by 1. So what's the lowest number between 1 and 3? 1, right? I'm done with this. I have a list of 8 and 10 and a list of 3 and 4. What's the lowest number between 8 and 3?
3.
3, yep. Sorry, I didn't see the chat. It's probably someone's not answering that in the chat. Yep, I think yes. By the way, yeah, Justin, that's a great question. And the answer is no. I'm going to make sure it's not that long. All right, I promise it won't be that long. Okay, so let's come back to the class. So between 8 and 3, 3 is lower. So you put 3 here, get rid of this. So now you have a list of 8, 10, and a list of 4. Which one is lower? 4, right? So you're going to put 4 in here. Get rid of this. Then you have a list of 8 and 10. You know that the other list is empty. So just put 8 and 10 right here. Now you have a sorted list to the left. You do the same thing for the right side of things, right? 1, 7, 4, 6. The lowest is 1. The next one is 4. The next one is 6. And the next one is 7. Then you merge it for the last time. You have a list of 1, 3, 4, 8, 10, and the list of 1, 4, 7, 1, 4, 6, 7. Now the lowest is 1. You can just pick one of the side. Now the number are equal. So yes, exactly. Yeah, that's a great explanation, much better than my explanation. So you have 2 lists. When you merge, it keep comparing the one that isn't eliminated yet. Pick the lower one, put into my new list. So over here you have 1, right? And then now your list to the side has 3, 8, 3, 4, 8, 10. The list to the left, the list to the right is 1, 4, 6, 7. So you pick this one, which is the lowest. What's next? You pick 3 because that's the lowest. Then you pick 4 because that's the lowest. You pick 4 again because that's the lowest. You pick between 8 and 6. You pick 6 because 6 is the next lowest. Then you pick 7 because that's the next lowest. And you pick 8 and 10. Now you have a sorted list. So that's how merge sort works. That's how merge sort works.
So but
Yes.
it keeps going down until every variable are separated and then stick it back on the same order.
Yes, exactly.
Like 1 and 10 is the last, so when you sort it start with 1 and 10 and then
Exactly, because the way you implement this in a program is done through recursion. So you recursively break. Then you're gonna call merge. So every time you break, you just call merge while you're recursively breaking things.
so that's why it looks like redundant.
It does look redundant, but believe it or not, this is one of the fastest sorting algorithms. Is if you go into algorithm class, you do an analysis of this, it will turn out that this is O n log n, which is relatively fast compared to other sorting algorithms. There's another alternate algorithm called quicksort. So if you're curious, I was planning to cover this a little bit, but I feel like it's much better to move to Discord and talk about assignment 2, because that's where the best to prepare for the midterm, right? So let's take a quick break, 5 to 10 minutes, and I'm switching to Discord. I will start from there. Is that okay?
John, one quick question. So in the exam, can you use special like pre-defined functions, or you need to write most of them by your hand?
Let me put it this way. Anything that I ask you to do should be doable by hand. So while we are doing the exam, I will be online to answer your question. And if unsure, check with me.
Oh, I see. Okay.
Yeah, so I hope that kind of cleared things up to some extent, but might not be the perfect answer that you're looking for.
It is the answer I'm looking for. Thanks.
Okay, cool.
Done.
Yep.
Then when in the the introduction class, Ajahn there told me about the Python tutor, and it have C. So will it help me?
What do you Python tutor that has C? Basically,
Yeah, I mean there are C tutor. So I want to ask if this is faster at finding
like going through our lectures from YouTube. Is that what your question?
No. It's just it shows what the code I write in order, like each line.
And the question is
it? I never use debugger, so I want to know if.
So like, what's my opinion on like C tutor on the?
Yeah.
Typically, most of them are actually pretty good, right? They are kind of like excerpt from most of the like introductory level C class that basically are like equivalent of what we're gonna cover. So these are typically good material that you can kind of use it to refresh what we learned here, but there might be things that are missing and things that are added on top that we didn't cover. So use it as a good like practice venue. I think there's also this platform. I forgot what's it called. Actually, let me look it up. I was curious when I signed up for that. There's this thing called Code War that has like question posted and you can solve it and you get rank and you get like better ranking as you go on and solve like new questions. I think it works for Python, Java, C. There's a lot of questions for each of the language. So I think it was good for like introductory or like intermediate level coding exercise. So yeah, I definitely recommend Code War.
Mm.
All right, so I'm gonna keep monitoring the WebEx, but in the meantime, I'm gonna switch over to Discord around 1:15. Let me get some more water and I'll be right back. All right. Okay, cool. By the way, and next week we'll resume our like lecture essentially. We continue on. There'll be new material, new lecture. Now we are kind of like done with the reviewing. Okay.
So the exam will be anything before this lecture, right?
Yes.
So
Yeah.
this is the like a split between new material. Oh, I see.
Yeah, yeah. But I want to do a review while we're doing this split because I hope it's less confusing and I hope it's early enough that if you kind of like, hey, I have no idea about this topic, you can come back to me and like, do you mind explaining these topics? Rather than finding that out in the last minute.
It's actually
Okay,
good because I don't, because
yeah.
I don't really know what to study effectively. So now I know that I need to study anything before this lecture.
Yes, yes. Okay, cool. So I'm gonna go to my desktop and we'll be on Discord.